The New Jersey Devils had one of the most disappointing, if not the most disappointing season last year. The team came out in 22-23 and surprised everyone and did amazing and ended up making the playoffs and the second round. But last year, for a multitude of different reasons, they were never able to find that same success and really skidded along the bottom of the league for a large part of the year. But this offseason, it looks like they were not satisfied with that, and they shouldn't be, and it looks like they're coming back and are going to be coming back even stronger than they were the other year. In this video, I want to talk about all the moves that the New Jersey Devils had make and how much better it's going to make them for this upcoming season. Because I'll give a small spoiler now, it looks a lot better than it did. Going back to the start of last season, it was pretty obvious that a large part of their season was going to be made up of how well the goaltending played, and it did not play very well. The New Jersey Devils rocked Vitek Vanacek and then Akira Schmid for most of the year. Akira Schmid really came out in the 2023 playoffs against the New York Rangers and eventually knocked them out of the playoffs, and then helped secure his roster spot for the 23 season. But that magic really did not carry over into last year. Last season, the top three Devils goalies were Vitek Vanacek, Nico Daws, and Akira Schmid. Vitek Vanacek played 32 games, won 17 of them, had an .890 save percentage and a .318 goals against average. Nico Daws played 21 games, had a .315 goals against average, had 9 wins and an .894 save percentage. And then Akira Schmid played 19 games, had a .315 goals against average, had 5 wins and an .895 save percentage. Those numbers are absolutely abysmal, and a playoff team has to have better goaltending than that. Even though it was too little too late, Tom Fitzgerald eventually did go out and address this at the trade deadline. He picked up Jake Allen, who played 13 games for the Devils. He won 6 of them, had a .311 goals against average, and a .900 save percentage. He also went out and got Kaapo Kähkönen. He had 6 games played for the New Jersey Devils. He had a .251 goals against average, 1 win, and then a .923 save percentage. Although Kähkönen and Allen's numbers may not sound like that big of an improvement over the other 3, it was a big improvement from what they had. And seeing that the goaltending really needed overhauled, Tom Fitzgerald went out and made the big splash this summer and got Jacob Markstrom from the Calgary Flames. While Markstrom's numbers don't seem great from last year, he was also playing on a really bad Calgary Flames team, and now I think with the New Jersey Devils, he's going to be able to rebound significantly, and he's going to put up some great numbers. But when we're talking about last season, we also have to touch on the fact that the New Jersey Devils had a lot of injuries to significant people in the lineup. Coming out of the gate last year, Jack Hughes was on fire and putting up a ton of points, and then he got an injury and it sidelined him for a good bit. Jack Hughes ended up missing 20 games last season, but still ended up putting up 27 goals and 74 points, which is very good. Even bigger part of the team that got hurt last year was Dougie Hamilton. Now that may sound surprising, wouldn't you think that Jack Hughes would be the big part of the team? But that's where you're wrong. Once Dougie Hamilton got hurt, that's when the season really started to fastly down spiral and then everything else fell apart. Dougie Hamilton is the number 1 defenseman on this team, and a lot of the stuff that the team does runs through him. Hamilton only got into 20 games last year, and his presence was significantly missed. Hopefully this year, he's really able to bounce back from his injury, and so does Jack Hughes, because he had a couple injuries throughout the season, and they really did riddle him. But when you look at the New Jersey Devils team, this is a very young team with a young core that should be able to have a very good team for a long time. They just have to put it all together. When you look at their roster, they currently have a top 6 of Andre Palat, Nico Hischier, Jasper Bratt, Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, and Dawson Mercer. That young core that they have can go up against just about anyone in the league. They just have to have the right person behind the bench leading them. And that was something that really hurt the team last year, whenever the team was running Lindy Ruff and it just really wasn't working. Then, the Devils management went out and made an even more puzzling decision and brought in Travis Green as the interim head coach for the rest of the season, and that didn't really work either. But this offseason, they went out and got the big fish coach and got Sheldon Keefe and brought him to New Jersey. Sheldon Keefe has a lot of experience working with a young core and young superstars to help them reach their potential. Sheldon Keefe has the highest winning percentage ever in Maple Leafs history as his time as a head coach there. This dude knows how to help a young core out and really get the most out of them when it matters. He doesn't have a lot of playoff success, but he's still a very young coach in this league, has only coached for one team, and has only coached for a couple of years. I actually think that him being away from Toronto is going to take so much stress off his back, not having to deal with that constant Toronto media and that Toronto bias. Only time will tell how he'll do in New Jersey, but he can't be any worse than Lindy Ruff. Personally, I'm not the biggest Devils fan myself, but what I saw from the outside was a lot of people complaining about him and how he managed the young talent, and specifically Alexander Holtz. Holtz was just drafted a couple years ago at 7th overall, and I kept seeing Devils fans complain online about how little ice time he was having. He would make one mistake and it seems like he would get benched significantly for a majority of the games after making a mistake that everyone would make. This was something that was heavily criticized and never let Holtz really step into his game, and eventually the team decided to move him this offseason. This offseason, Holtz and Akira Schmid were traded to the Vegas Golden Knights for Paul Cotter and a third-round pick in 2025. Holtz will probably have a lot better year next year in Vegas, where he'll actually have an opportunity to play and really grow and develop his game. The New Jersey Devils got Paul Cotter back, and that's a pretty solid addition to their fourth line. Right now, the Devils' fourth line is looking like Paul Cotter, Curtis Lazar, and Nathan Bastian. While their offensive numbers might not stand out to you, they are a very strong forechecking line. Whenever you're in a 7-game long playoff series, and even just regular season games, those strong forechecking lines can help make a big difference. Those type of players really wear down the opponent and puts a tear on their bodies, and through 7 games, that really helps you and can help swing the tide in your favor. And on that idea of being tougher and wearing down your opponents, they went out and even reinforced that idea with their defense. This offseason, they went out and got Brett Pesce and Brendan Dillon. Brett Pesce's obviously the bigger of the two, and he'll slot in nicely next to Luke Hughes, but Brendan Dillon really adds some nice bite to the third pairing, and that's something that should really help the team and really help keep people off their star players. Brendan Dillon's not afraid to drop the gloves, and I really think that's something that the young stars will really appreciate and really help them play their game and just focus on hockey instead of having to worry about defending themselves. Looking at their forward core, their defensive core, and even their goaltending tandem of Markstrom and Jake Allen, I think this season's going to go a lot better for the New Jersey Devils. Personally, I think they're going to slot in nicely at number 2 or 3 in the Metro, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs this year. Sheldon Keefe is also looking like one of the potential favorites for the Jack Adams this year, and who knows, maybe he will win it, but only time will tell how his time in New Jersey will go. But I really want to know your thoughts on this offseason for the New Jersey Devils and how bad their season went last year if you're a New Jersey Devils fan. Also, it would really help me out if you could hit that like button and consider subscribing, because it really helps get my channel out to more people and gets my videos spread all across YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.